Let's start then, because, of course, Liverpool, they remain in with this chance of winning this unprecedented quadruple after they beat Manchester City 3-2 to reach the FA Cup final. So we're going to start with you, Hayden. 7 changes for both these sides. They had epic weeks, of course, in the Champions League as well, and then they played each other as well at the weekend. Liverpool, though, in Klopp's words, had one of the best halves they've ever played in the first half. Would you agree with that? Yeah, most definitely. I think at the moment you look at Liverpool and they're a team that are really on form, top side. They've got dangerous players throughout the pitch, and I think that they played their strongest 11 against City yesterday, and they really blew them away in the first half. They were brilliant, you know. Probably one of the best, if not the best, club side in the world. So really, yeah, for me, I mean the threats that they've got in the final third, their front three. Front five now, when you look at the options they've got, are up there with the best in the world. So, and the way they play, you know, they're on the front foot, they press without the ball, they win it back, and they're straight after. You know, if you leave space in behind, they really get after that space with Salah and Mane and people like that. So, you know, a terrific side, and they showed City no mercy yesterday.
When you play against a side that have made a lot of changes, or when you play in a side that makes a lot of changes, how easy is it if you are that side where you've got new players? They're good players, obviously. We know they're all good players, but how easy is it to gel against such a powerful unit like Liverpool? Yeah, I don't know so much with gel. I think they know each other. They train with each other quite a bit, so they will know each other's game inside out. I think it's the mindset. I think it's the players who probably started that game, the last game in the Champions League, looking at the lads who are coming in, so many changes. You are professional. Listen, they're a professional bunch, I'm sure, Man City, you know. Well, I've no doubt, but sometimes you look at the changes, 6 changes, the goalkeeper's changed, and you look at the lads being left out, going into a game. Sometimes that mentality of how the head coach is treating the game. It looks like he's treating it as if, you know, this is a game where I can rest players in. So the mentality might drop off. Whereas you look at the Liverpool team, I think the changes that Klopp made it against Benfica to set himself up for this game was completely different. So the lads going into that game yesterday, the Liverpool lads knew, listen, we've got to hit this 100 miles an hour, where I think the City group might have looked at it, you know, the gaffer's looked at this and he's resting a couple. This might be a game where we know it's not of importance. The biggest game for them is obviously the Champions League game, and I know it sounds like that and how it looks, but you look at the start of the game. One team started out of the block straight away, and the other team, it took them 45 minutes to get going. I'm interested in terms of Pep's selection, because I think, you know, he wanted to potentially bring off Kevin De Bruyne off the bench, but I think he wasn't able to. He did stick with Stefan. I want to say his name. That's right, it's Stefan. And, you know, plenty have looked at that and thought perhaps that was the wrong decision not to have Ederson on for this game. I mean, he was at fault for Mane's goal as well, wasn't he, Stefan? Yeah, he had a bit of a nightmare. If I take you through a couple of papers at the moment, I'm going to start with the Sun's coverage of City, because their headline on the back page, play on words, don't look Zach in anger. And look at the subdeck on the left-hand side as well. Pep backs his American keeper after that howler yesterday. We'll talk more about the quad still being on in a little while. But Guardiola's saying in the press conference yesterday that he was trying to do the kind of thing that Ederson has done before successfully. Ederson could have been caught in the last game, Guardiola was saying. Absolutely, on the line, that clearance. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think as far as Stefan is concerned, you could see that it affected him afterwards. There are some suggestions that he may have been at fault for the first goal as well, but I think it was the howler. That's the one that really defined this contest, because it put Liverpool in an unassailable position. I'll take you through a couple of other papers as well, because Hayden was talking about the changes. Ollie Holt's coverage says that this, in the Mail on Sunday, he says that this game was all over it before it began. And he says, look, it was all over when De Bruyne was injured in the game against Atletico. Ollie describes it as a battle. He says it was all over in the tunnel at the Wanda Metropolitano, with the headbutts and the fists and all of that. It was all over when Guardiola named his team for this, and there were 3 of the first choice back 4 missing.
Ollie says it was all over when Fernandinho, a man who was starting to play like a midfielder who was leaving at the end of the season, was picked to hold the line. And it was all over when the unmistakable message Guardiola sent out was that he was prioritising the Premier League and the Champions League over this one. No blame should be attached to him for that. City's squad not as deep as Liverpool's, and however City might try to disguise it, winning the Champions League for the first time in their history has become their holy grail. Everything else is secondary. And he's made a number of good points in there. But very much what you were saying, that as far as City were concerned, this was not the match that was high on their priorities.
No.
Yeah, and I guess because they'd played them a week ago and got the 2-2 draw, perhaps they felt they'd got the measure of them in terms of, Pep Guardiola could choose, a changed-up team. Going forward, in terms of the Premier League, do you think this could have an impact on City? This result could have an impact on what they do in the next 6 or 7 games?
Potentially, but I really think that City is such a strong side. And they made so many changes to the game yesterday. I think City going forward will know, especially like you said, the main focus now is the league and the Champions League. I think it'd take a lot for them to slip up now. I really do. I think Liverpool's running is tougher than City's. And I think Pep Guardiola, top manager and top squad, I don't think he'll let it drop from now.
No.
Here's the thing. That it is obviously tougher, but when you've got a guy like Sadio Mane in your ranks, you have somebody who can deal with all of those obstacles. I want to take you to the Sunday Mirror, because Andy Dunn in the Sunday Mirror has done a terrific piece. Chris Bascom, it has to be said, in the Sunday Telegraph has done a similar piece, but I'm pointing you to this one, Lash, because it's my sister paper. And as far as Andy is concerned, he says this: "It seems too bizarre to say, but Mane is one of the most underrated superstars of world football. Really? Well, how come all we hear is about the standoff over Salah's contract when Mane's is due to expire at the same time? Mane's now scored 18 goals across all club competitions this season, yet Salah's the one who's odds on for PFA Player of the Year. You can get 100 to 1 against Mane winning the same accolade. And don't forget, Mane's led his Senegal team to victory in the Africa Cup of Nations. He's helped them to qualify his penalty kick for the World Cup finals. He has been as crucial a component of Klopp's project as any other player, including Salah." And in Chris's piece, Chris talks about the fact that, in a way, that's the way Mane would want it. He's a very quiet, understated
Goes under the radar, doesn't he?
But it has to be said, this is one of the best players right now in world football who does not get the credit he deserves. And I would like to see, maybe over the next few days, maybe a few more pieces around this and what Liverpool plan to do about him, because you cannot possibly countenance allowing a player with his capabilities to leave the club, surely.
No, it makes a good point. What about this quadruple then? I mean, Klopp is playing it down, but are the media believing, Darren, that they can do this?
In a word, yes. They've got the quality, they've got the depth. You look at the changes. We talked about this before the show, didn't we? You look at the players they brought on yesterday, and you see that they have the quality right throughout the side. I think they've got the momentum as well. They've already done 2 of the 4 trophies anyway. So why could they not do it?
They haven't quite done the 2 of them, have they? They've got 1 of them.
Well, sorry, they're already on the way to do it.
Better not say that.
That's getting ahead of myself.
Actually.
That's really true. Thank you for that.
Stepping ahead of yourself there.
But I think as far as getting to the final, obviously either Palace or Chelsea will have something to say about that later on today. But they have that mentality, definitely. They've got the quality, they've got the defensive strength as well. And they've got the experience of coming through difficult moments. Last season was a really difficult moment for the football club, and they managed to survive that. And I think when you do come through those tough times, and then you have a challenge like this, I know Klopp yesterday said, "Who cares?" But then in the next press, he did say, We'll go for it, we'll see. And Mane was even more strident, wasn't he? He said, "We're going to go for this, we can do." So why not? Why not? I think they could.
How much of an achievement, just put that into perspective for us, even if they got a treble, in today's game, we know that Manchester United did this way back, but, in today's game, how much of an achievement would that be?
I think it'd be huge. I think to win a trophy, any trophy is tough, but to win 3 competitions is fantastic. In any era that you do it in, and even now, like you say, with the power, the money power, and what teams are spending and what squads they're coming up against. It's fantastic, and they keep churning out results. It's it doesn't matter who they play at the moment. Liverpool, they look a side that can really hurt anyone. And I look at what they did yesterday in the first half. It seems like they're getting stronger. Even in the Champions League, in the first leg against Benfica away, they went there and blew them away in the first leg. And they made changes in the second leg. We know that. And the game finished with a 3-3 draw. But at the moment, they do look a strong outfit. To do the treble would be fantastic in any era, and players at that football club will be there to win things. And we talk about, holding on to Mane. I don't think there's many other clubs which could attract Mane at the moment. I know PSG with their money and what they're doing, but they're not going as far as in the Champions League as a Liverpool. At the moment, I really do think Liverpool, Man City are up there with probably the two best club teams.
All right, let me ask you this then. We grew up in an era, and I'm sure many people watching, Manchester United win the treble, 99, Arsenal's invincibles. If Liverpool were to win, say, 3 of the 4 trophies, would that be comparable to any of that? Or if they were to win the quadruple, obviously numerically it would be much superior. But how big an achievement would it be?
I think it depends on which 3 they pick up. So if they pick up the Champions League, the Premier League, for example, and the FA Cup, it's huge. I think it's huge.
That'll be the quadruple.
Sorry, yeah. I mean, the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
Then I think it's big. They are up there, like I said. Them and Man City, for me, are the 2 best club teams in the world. And it's so close between them. But like you say, if they do pick up the treble, it'd be huge. I mean, for those players, for the club, they want to keep striving. They want to keep getting better. If they can pick up as many trophies as they can along the way, it will match for me, it will match the Manchester United one in 99. But fantastic.
They seem to have got their recruitment spot on as well in terms of players like Diaz and Jota who have just slotted in, and people are saying, look at them, January signings in terms of Diaz, and he's been brilliant. He's hit the ground running.
Yeah.
But does it help when you come into a club like that, because everyone seems to know what their job is? So is his job easier to come in as a new player?
I think what helps is the dressing room. I think they've got a really good dressing room at Liverpool, and I think Jordan Henderson's a big part of that. And there's a lot of players that have been in the Liverpool dressing room now for a long time. It was the same with the Manchester United dressing room with Gary Neville and Scholes and Keane and Giggs and people like that. There was a real sort of understanding of the football club. I think they've got that at Liverpool. I really do. And I think one of the easiest things when you go and join a new club is the dressing room. And I always remember at West Ham when I was there, we had a really good dressing room, and a lot of the players that came into our team would always comment on the dressing room and say this is a great place to play and be at. And I think that helps Diaz and people like that who go into Liverpool and hit the ground running, because if the dressing room's right and off the pitch is right, it feels good, you perform better.
Do you know, people watching say, when you say a really good dressing room, what does that mean?
When you say a really good dressing room, it's you go into work every morning, into training every morning. You get in and you want to be there. It's not like there's this. Oh, I'm going into work today, or I don't like this player, or I don't like that player, or there's a little group over here that are moaning and they want to get away and he's not happy. I think at Liverpool at the moment, you see it's a really good environment. It looks like whatever team he puts on the pitch, they're all enjoying their football. They're all playing for each other. They're all running. And when you get in the morning, everyone's happy and there's no cliques, there's not a group over there sitting and there's not someone over there sniping at the manager. Everyone gets on and you walk in. You can walk into any conversation. If you're in the dining room and there's a group of players sat there, or a group of players, you can sort of sit with any group of players, and it looks like Liverpool has that feel at the moment. I think when you're welcoming a player in from outside who's just come in, you can see what happens on the pitch. You can see them enjoying the football. You can see them, and it looks like they've got a great dressing room, like I say, and which means everyone gets on. There's a real good atmosphere. The players are probably socialising together off the pitch. The families probably get on, and it looks like that from the outside looking in at Liverpool.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Look, there was a sour note yesterday, Darren, and we want to mention it. City were forced to apologise after a section of their fans booed whilst there was a commemoration, of course, for the Hillsborough disaster some 33 years ago. Pep said that section of the fans don't represent the club and who we want to be, but disappointing nonetheless.
I think it was disgraceful. I think as far as all of the papers cover what happened. The referee had to blow early to cut the minute silence. short. I think we're in such a febrile time at the moment where, you know, people don't seem to have that respect for what cuts across football rivalries, really. And I think what we saw today, it wasn't just disappointing, it cast a huge shadow over the occasion. I think as far as Guardiola was concerned, he was right to say what he did, that they call themselves supporters, but they're not really. They're a group of people with no real respect for what should have been a sombre occasion.
Yeah, absolutely.